Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got one that I've gotten quite a bit of requests for this over the years, and I've never got to it because there's just too much soloing in it. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. And today I buckled down and I at least transcribed the main guitar solo. So I'm going to talk about what he's doing for the other parts, like there's little fill parts, there's two outro solos, kind of a thing. He's kind of doing all kind of the same stuff he's doing, similar stuff that he's doing in the main solo. So we are going to take a look at the main solo note for note. A little bit later I'm going to grab my Strat after we learn the chords. And then you kind of want to take those ideas that I'm doing, like it's mostly based around this D minor pentatonic. So we talk about that. Whenever I'm doing a solo, just do stuff like that for the rest of the song whenever there's a little solo part. That's all he's doing. It's really kind of an improvised thing for him too. So, but when with this acoustic here, we're gonna first take a look at the chords. It's very simple chord progressions throughout the song, but really instantly recognizable once you hear it come in. Now, before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The way you guys can keep this channel going, you can see the numbers just go I guess less people are playing guitar, or less people care about learning songs, or less people just care less about me doing YouTube videos. I don't know what it is, but YouTube sucks now. So the only way you can actually keep this channel going is to really kind of join my Guitar Academy. You're going to see a link to that in the description below. I'm trying to put a lot of new content in there this year. I do live streams every week, but I have a lot of courses over there. I got courses for complete beginners, 2 courses for more advanced players in technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone. Like I said, you get personalized support from me. I'm the only guy that works it. So when you email in, I'm the one that gets it. I get you personalized support with the lessons there. And I get live streams with just Academy members every weekend. So we get to know each other. So it's a lot of fun. And that link will give you 40% off my annual subscription price. So that's a YouTube only thing. So if you go to my site, it's going to be a higher price. So click that link and that's how you're going to get it. Now let's jump into this track. I'm going to start here with this kind of main thing that you hear that's also the verse of the song and most of the chorus. So it looks like this. All right, so this is based around, starts with a D power chord. You don't want to add that note in there. Just gotta keep it, you don't want to add the minor in there. He's improvising and kind of a D minor pentatonic over it. So that's the open D, 2nd fret there on the G, and the 3rd fret there on the B. So you do that first, and then you're gonna go. So that lifts up the index finger to make an open G. You hear that little open G, back down to the 2nd fret, then open G again, back to the 2nd fret. So this. All right, and then we're gonna go over to the A string. And we have this little moving bass line. Open A string, then 2. And when you get to the 3rd fret. All right, so this chord that when you get up here, C sus2 chord. We're not putting the 3rd in there. Kind of keep that D string muted or open, but then the open G, 3rd fret there on the B, and 3rd fret on the high E. So this note right here is the 2nd, so it's a C sus2. And then we're going to go from there to a G major with B in the bass, so first inversion G. So all that is a fancy way of saying take your index finger and play the 2nd fret on the A string, and everything else stays the same. Open D, open G, 3rd fret on the B, 3rd fret on the high E string. So. And then from there, you're gonna hit the 3rd fret on the low E string. So we have this all together. Repeat. After that, it's a couple hits. You're gonna continue to strum. So this is the concept of strumming. If you're not very good at that, I have multiple lessons on that. I have a strumming course just on strumming. I have a rhythm foundations course that covers a lot of it. And even in my Getting Started course, we talk a little bit about strumming fundamentals and how to keep the kind of perpetual motion going and everything. So you quit thinking about patterns. You don't need a pattern. You can just feel it and mimic what you hear, and it locks in just like that. And that's how you want to do it. You don't want to overcomplicate. And my hand doesn't stop moving. So you learn how to do that. If you feel you don't, I need a strumming pattern. Well, you're thinking about it the wrong way. Check out my Guitar Academy, and it shows you how to think about it the correct way, so you're not overthinking it. Anyway, you do that lick. That's the main riff that goes throughout the intro of the song and then through the verse. And then when we get to the chorus, we do that riff 3 times, and then we go to an A and a G chord. It looks like this. So this is the chorus. Alright, so after 3 times, it just goes to this A chord. You just play the open A string and then bar the second fret across C, D, G, and the B. So this will count the 4 middle strings. And then he's going to go to... Now, I'm not sure exact voicing he's using of this live, but on the recording, you hear this B on the second string, the 3rd fret there on the B string there, that D note. And you hear the B. So you think maybe it's an open B string, but he's also hearing that note. So you're going to do that. You can do it. It's just a regular G bar chord. The blues guys do it with the thumb. Anyway, so it's a bar at the 3rd fret there, and then in front of that, the 4th fret there on the G, 5th on the D, 5th on the A, or you can just thumb it. So that comes to the. You start hearing them kind of do some soloing, but like I said, we're going to take care of that a little bit later, and you kind of learn what to do whenever there's a soloing going on in the song. All right, and then we go back to the verse, back to the chorus, and then we get to the solo. So the solo has a little bit different progression. You play that main progression 8 times. It's under the main solo. So you do that 8 times, and then we go to a couple different chords. So that's just an F. We just did the G here, right? The 3rd fret. It's just the F at the 1st fret. And then take it to that G. You do that twice. Solo is going to end on that G. Like I said, you can play it with the thumb here. All right, so then it goes back to the same chorus that we did before, and then there's some outro solos. So really, it's most of that outro, all the stuff at the end. All the outro solo is just over that main riff, and then and then it goes into a chorus again at the end, and then back into some outro soloing and over that main riff again. What they do at the very end, they're continuing this over those outro solos or under them, and then we just stop. We stop on that G with the B and the bass at the end of the song. So that's, we play that. Right there, and that's what the song ends on. So we've already played that chord, so you know what we're doing there. That's right before we do that. All right, and that is it for what we're going to cover on Blue on Black. Like I said, those outro guitar parts and stuff are going to, we can talk about what to do. I'm going to be doing the solo here. I'm going to switch to pick up my Strat, and then I'm going to play through the main solo note for note, which is going to be similar to the same scale patterns, the same stuff, areas of fretboard he's using for any fills you hear throughout the song, or the couple of outro solos. But right now, we're going to take a look at that solo we just learned the chord progression to. We're going to take a look at the full solo note for note, and then I'll take you through it. So here we go.
All right, so that one's got some really kind of really fun licks in it. It's a little signature moves that he does in there. I know this is kind of you know, blues study, Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of stuff, but it's got a couple of little, it's how he kind of pedals against notes, kind of his own thing. Anyway, so we're just gonna start here with this first phrase. Looks like this. So right there, it's kind of he's kind of pedaling against that note. It's kind of cool. So it looks like this. We're gonna start. So this 10-12 on the D string. Now just keep in mind that this is we're gonna go through this note for note, but this is a kind of an improvised affair. So you can kind of go through it note for note with me, get a good vibe of what's going on, and try to get it just like him, or just get inspiration from it. And then all those other fills in the song, and then the couple of outro solos, you can kind of do that same thing that you're doing here. Just kind of use it as inspiration. But he's probably not playing this the same way. I haven't really checked out a lot of live performances, but I don't know. He's not doing this note for note, I'm sure. He's just probably something very, very similar, but he probably just goes off on it a little bit. So we have this first. So we have 10-12 on the D string, then to the 10th fret there on the G, slight bend up on it. And then we have this. So we have this little kind of bend and release to the 12th fret there on the G string. Some vibrato. And then here we're going to keep pedaling against this 12th fret, kind of palm muted here at the 12th fret on the A string. So we're going to, after this, we're going to go to the 10th fret there on the G. Then we're going to come down here and hit that 12th fret on the A. And then we're going to go 12, 10 on the G, 12 on the D string, and then hit a light palm muted 12th fret on the A again. And then back to the 12th fret on the D, then back to that 12th fret on the A. And then over here to the 10th fret there on the G. So I'll do that slowly. So it's kind of cool vibe to it. All right, from there we had this. So that's going to be 10-12 on the D string, over to 10 on the G. A lot of times, almost every time when you're in this kind of minor pentatonic form, when you get to that note that's on the G string that would play with your index finger, it's always got a little slight bend on it. And then we're gonna have this. So when you're going into these things, you're gonna hear he's kind of you're gonna hear some muted strings, some open strings thrown in there. A a lot of times when you're hearing the open strings, it's kind of the open D and open G string that you're hearing. So it's kind of like this phrase has something like that going into it. So it goes. So if you really analyze the recording, he's not really thinking about that too much. He's just filling up the sound by hitting these open A and D strings in between the phrases. So it goes. So you can be really deliberate, which he's not, but it's there on the recording. So when you hear all this other string noise, that's what's going on. It's really quick and muted. So that double stops at the 10th fret there, 12th fret across the G and the B string. Then the 10th fret there on the G, and then the 12th there on the D. You hear that muted hits again, so it is. Then we have this. Kind of like this. So we have this 10 on the D string, then 12 on the D twice. Then he comes over and grabs that muted 12th fret there on the A string, and then back to this 10, 12, 12. And then you hear those kind of two open strings, and then 10, 10, 12. So it's kind of that little phrase. So I'm trying to get this exact, so you're gonna hear a lot of little fillers in there. All right, from here we have this. So that's up here at the 15th fret there on the B string. With some vibrato. By the way, this all fits into, like, if you follow my blues rock boot camp, you're gonna see a lot what he's doing with this form. This is like one of the two frameworks that pretty much all well-known blues rock guitar players, blues rock guitar players, 98% of their solos fall within these very specific footprints of the fretboard. They don't take in the whole blues scale, whole pentatonic. It's very specific what they do. And they all do the same thing. So that's what that Blues Rock Bootcamp, we learn those two frameworks, and then we show you how they all do their things in between. And we go through the whole history of from the 60s all the way through, all the way from like Clapton, Gilmore, all the way through Joe Bonamassa and stuff. So you see how this stuff is done in action, and this is exactly what Getting Away Shepherd's doing here too. So check out the course. And the 40% off my annual rate in the description. All right, so what are we at here? All right, so we have this. So that's up here at the 15th fret there on the B string. Then you some vibrato on it, and then the 13th fret there on the B string, and then you gotta slide back down into the original pentatonic shape, like slide down into that 12th fret on the G, and then hit that a few more times. Then the 10th fret, and then we're gonna go cross strings, 12 on the D, and then 12 on the A. When you hit that's always kind of palm muted. Then you go back to the D string, 12th fret with some vibrato, and then the 10th fret. So all together. And we have this. So we'll stop there. So this is kind of this kind of common blues like 13th fret there on the B string. Then grab the 10th fret there on the high E string, and then pull off 13 to 10 on the B. So we have that a few times. And then after the third time, go back to that bend at the 13th fret on the B. So we have this so far. All right, from there we have this. So it's kind of extended, all that kind of goes together. So I'm gonna kind of do all that together as a phrase. All right, so after that last bend on the 13th fret, we're not gonna come up and we're gonna do a little descending. So 10th fret on the high E string, 13, 10 on the B string, into a bend at the 12th fret there on the G, and then play 10 on the B, 10 on the high E string, 13, 10 on the B again. So we have this. And then there's a bend and release at the 12th fret there on the G, and then the 10th fret there on the G, and then we have some of this. So we're doing these double stops at the 12th fret on the G and the B, then the 10 on the same strings, and then back to the 12s. But we have this. He kind of rocks back and forth between hitting these two strings. So you're gonna hit this 4 times. All right, then we have this. All right, so we have this hammer on from 12 to 14 on the G string, over to 13 there on the B. And then gonna quickly slide from that 14 down to the 12 on the G again. And then play 10, so this. And then we have double stops again across the 12th fret on the G and the B, and then the 10th fret on the G and the B. And then we are over at the 12th fret there on the D string, and then the 12th fret on the A string, so this. Then come back to the 10th fret there on the G. He hits it once, and then he hits it with a pinch harmonic. This pinch harmonic that he's doing here, if you have a Strat, yours is probably gonna be the same spot too, same scale length and stuff. It's kind of right over the middle pickup, just maybe slightly to the right of the center of the. So it's kind of he hits the note first, and then kind of a bend and release on a pinch harmonic, and then we had this, which is the 10th fret on the high E string, over to 10 on the B, and then into that bend, whole step bend with some vibrato at the 13th fret there on the B string. All right, and then we have this. All right, getting around here. So I ended it, that was the thing that we ended our previous phrase. So I started with that, and then from there we have this 10th fret on the high E string, 13, 10 on the B, bend and release at the 12 on the G, down to 10 on the G. And then we do those same 2 double stops we just did, the 12 and 10 double stops, and then 12 on the D, 12 on the A, back to that 10 on the G string. All right, and then we're gonna hear some muted hits in between this, but around that, after this, so we're gonna start here. We get some muted hits after we get that 10th fret there on the G. So muted hit on the open string, there's open A and D, and then the 12th fret there on the G. Hit it, and then pick it again, bend and release, 10, then the 12 on the D, then the open strings again, the open A and D, and then the 10th fret there on the G, open strings again, 12 on the G, and then we have this double stop, which is a 12th fret on the G, and the 13th there on the B. And I think here, he's already kind of, maybe there's like a little effect that gets getting added, and you start hearing all these overtones. So especially when he hits that 12th fret, but might be just in a pinch harmonic, whatever. You hit the 12 and 13 together there, and then you play. It's actually after this little double stops. It's a kind of a pre-bend on the 12th fret on the G down to the 10th fret. So, and then you play those same double stops, 12 and 10, and then we have this. That's on the D string, pulling off 12 to 10 over to 12 on the A, and then back to 10, 12 on the D, 10 on the G, open strings, and then that double stop at the 12th fret, and then just 10 on the G, a couple times on the 12 here on the D string, and then jump up here to the 15th fret with some vibrato, and then hit it real quick and kill it. So we have this from here. All right, from there we have our next phrase. All right, so we're gonna start here, still on this, we just played this a couple times, and then gonna play it again with vibrato, over to 13 on the high string, and then we go into this repeated lick. So that's, remember, I'm kind of just really hitting those muted strings in between. Kind of almost raking into those. It's not like, it's like too clean. It's not Mozart. You gotta dig in. All right, so we're gonna play that 15 on the high E string, and then kind of a half step bend and release. So pick and then pick again, half step bend and release, 13 on the high E string, then 15 on the B. Repeat. So every time, here's some muted hits in between. So you do it 4 times. And then we have this. All right, so that's gonna be 13 on the high E string, then pull off 15 to 13 on the B, and then slide that down to the 10th fret. Then we have 10 on the high E string, 13, 10 on the B string. Then a bend at the 12th fret, then pull off 12 to 10 on the G there. And then those 2 12 and 10 double stops again, so this. One more time. Then you're gonna pull off 12 to 10 on the D, over to that 12 on the A string, then play 10, 12 on the D string, and then to the 10 on the G string, and then those open hits again. All right, and then we have the next phrase. All right, so that's gonna be a slide from the 12th fret on the, this is where it goes to F in the progression. So you hear this when it gets to that F. So we were just. So that progression we took a look at earlier. So we've gotten to that part of the solo here. So that's that slide from 12 to 14 on the G string, over to 13 there on the B string. Then you're gonna slide from 12 to 10. That's not 12 to 10. Slide from 14 down to 12, and then to that 10th fret. Then you hit the muted hits, and then we have this. Here it's the double stops on the middle 2 strings, so the D and the G, and then the 10th fret there on the G, so this. So just the double stops only the 12th fret. When you get to the 10th fret, it's just the G string by itself. One more time. And then we're gonna have the 12th fret there on the D, and then the 12th fret there on the A, then go 10, 12, 12 on the G string. So all together. From there we have this. So that's going to be, you hit the 10th fret there on the G string, and then you're going to hear an open D in there. So hit that open D, and then we're going to have a bend at the 12th fret on the G string, and then play 10, 13 on the B, and then bend and release at the 12th fret on the G string, and then 10 on the G, and then you hit those double stops across the G and the B on the 12th fret, and then just the 10th fret on the G by itself. So we have this. Then we have this. So that's going to be a pull off. We did this like earlier. Pulling off 12 to 10 on the D string. And then over to 12th fret on the A string. And then play 10, 12 on the D string again. Kind of muted hits. And then we go into this ending. All right, so that's going to be here at the sliding into the 14th fret there on the G string. And then you're going to pick the 13th, you kind of let them ring together. And you're going to pick the 13th fret on the high E string twice. So you kind of slide into 14 on the G and then play 13 on the high E twice. So let that kind of ring together. Do that 3 times. After you've done it 3 times, then you just pick the 2 notes once each. So it is. Without sliding into them. And then at the very end of the song, we're going to do the same thing, but up 2 frets. So sliding in to 16, and then play 15 on the high E string. So you do that, just you kind of slide into 16, and then hit 15 once on the high E, then again, and then one more time. And that last time you'll hit the 15 twice instead of once. So all together this part. All right, so just kind of, that's the main solo. Obviously we have kind of fills sections throughout and then a couple of outro solos, but kind of just do that same thing. He's not venturing really beyond what you're hearing here too much, so it's just pretty much just kind of. Just mess around with it and improvise. And that's what he's doing too, is he's just kind of improvised with very familiar scale patterns to him. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of in-depth look, especially at this main solo and then the chords, which is a lot easier to get through. But it's a really great song, and it's got a really cool vibe to it. It's really fun to improvise. So I'd learn this solo, learn to play with some backing tracks or something on YouTube, and then learn to start kind of taking the inspiration from those licks and doing your own improvisations over it. D minor pentatonic, and just have a ball. All right, I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.